Do you remember when you were in your 20s? You were young, just barely adults, with your whole life ahead of you. And thoughts of getting older never entered your mind. Only your parents and your grandparents were old. You were living your life just barely out of your teens without a care in the world. I remember, and I'm sure you do too. Hi, I'm Susan, and welcome to my channel, where we'll talk about all things related to getting older. So time marched on. We were busy with our jobs, our careers, raising children, having families. And then, just like that, we woke up one day and we were in our 50s, in our 60s. And we wondered, how did this happen? Yeah, life's like that. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. And getting older, aging, is a natural part of this life. And I say be grateful because you've made it this far. Many people don't get the chance to enjoy this chapter of their life. They don't get to experience their 60s or 70s and beyond like we have so far. So here are my thoughts that help me face aging in a positive, more grateful way, and not to be so fearful. Because fear is a distressing emotion, and that's the negativity that we have to avoid. Okay, the first is acceptance. Whatever your age, you have to work on accepting yourself for who you are right now. Figure out what matters to you most and what doesn't. That knowledge guides us through our life's choices as we get older. We're all familiar with the advertisers. You see it in magazines, you see it on commercials, where they try to make us look as young as we possibly can, like it's a lifelong goal to always remain looking like we're 30, like it's the most important thing in life. But our looks don't identify us. It's more about your attitude and your state of mind. That's what I think. And accepting that we're not 30 anymore. I know it's really hard to accept that we're not 30 anymore because sometimes we really feel like it. We keep thinking we're still in our 30s, 35, 40, of course, until we look in the mirror. But we do think about it. We don't think of ourselves as this 60, 70-year-old woman. And I remember my mom saying that. She said, the only time I realize that I'm in my 70s is when I look in the mirror. I still feel 35. She always said that. And she moved like she was younger. So I think it's a lot to do with your attitude. Your attitude is really important. Your mindset, it's really important. And accepting that we're not 30 anymore. But once you get into your 50s and beyond, you tend to have more self-knowledge and then more self-acceptance. You start to understand yourself better and you become more comfortable in your own skin. And becoming yourself gives you permission to do whatever you want to do. Get into a more fulfilling relationship, or not waste time on things that are unimportant to you. So be proud of your age. I know I am. Don't criticize yourself either. That's another negativity that is so unhealthy. And be grateful. You've worked hard to get here. So enjoy it. And the second is to be empowered. Take control of your life and be responsible for yourself. Only focus on what's within your control and let go of the rest. Focusing your energy on things you can change can give you a feeling of empowerment. Focusing your energy on things you cannot control will just make you frustrated and maybe depressed and anxious. And those are just unnecessary negative thoughts. Be empowered by taking control of your health. You can schedule your doctor's visits, dentist visits, and keep up with them on a regular basis, twice a year or yearly. And that's empowerment, and that's taking control. Of course, you want to do everything you can to stay healthy. You want to exercise, you need to keep moving, whatever you can do. Take walks every day. Of course, you need to eat well. And if you're not sure of the best diet for you, maybe you should seek out a professional, like a nutritionist, and have them make up a diet for you that will include the best and healthiest food for you to eat. And of course, you need to control your finances and keep them in order. And with technology, you certainly have to keep up with that as best you can. I know it's not always easy, but be aware of things like emails that sound like they're scams. Don't ever click on anything or reply to anything that you're unfamiliar with. Uh, you just have to be careful. You have to be aware, and that's part of taking control of your life and being empowered. There's a scam going on around here not too long ago, and it was actually on Facebook too, because a lot of people reported it. And it was about the turnpike tolls. Maybe the same thing happened in your area. Now, I hadn't even been on the turnpike in a long time, so I knew immediately it was a scam. And I've gotten quite a few of them, actually, and I just deleted them. Don't pay any attention to them. And from time to time, I do get scams that say something like, pay requests or you owe X amount of dollars for something, and it's just ridiculous. And so they try to target older people because we're the most vulnerable. But if you are aware of that, and you really should be, and you could also ask someone, that like a family member, just to be sure that it's a scam. So you have to be really careful. So be aware of your emails or your texts, um, to be sure it's someone that you know, it's something familiar, and it's not a scam. And the third is to focus on discovering yourself. Find out what things excite you, what things are you passionate about. As I've said before, and as you probably heard time and again, it is never too late to start learning something new. We are never too old to stop learning. And maybe you'd like to do some kind of self discovery. You could start writing. You could maybe reflect on your life and start writing down some stories that you remember from your childhood, from years ago, and think about leaving that for your grandchildren. Maybe you could include photos and, of course, names of family members. But I think it would really be a nice thing to leave for future generations. That's one of the things I think about, is leaving a legacy of some kind. I think about leaving this world, but being able to leave something behind for future generations, or even for my children now. I don't have any grandchildren, so I guess it will just be for my children, and that's fine. So to write down stories that you can remember, that you can leave for your grandkids or future generations, I think would be really fun. At this point in our lives, we've all lived a long time now, and we face tough times, but it's made us stronger. It's made us more resilient. It's made us smarter, that's for sure. And we need to be grateful for that and to be proud of what we've accomplished. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.